I'm Dave Davidson, and here I am crossing the finish line 5 years ago. Little did I know it would be my last race for years. It wasn't the crash, I bounced right up and almost won my run, but right after this, I had a major injury that kept me from walking for 6 whole months, and I had to relearn everything on the bike. Now, at almost 4 years old, I feel like I have a little unfinished business that I just can't shake. And that's when I saw this video.
We are less than a month away from the Strait Acres Showdown at Rock Creek. We need some pros. I want someone to beat Kyle.
And so I scrambled to the Strait Acres Showdown dual slalom race in Zirconia, North Carolina. And this time I didn't crash, but something way worse happened. My old fear response reared its ugly head. You know, the one where you know what to do, but your body just kind of chokes, or you ride stiff, or you grab brakes. It wasn't because they lined me up against two-time Red Bull Rampage winner and pro racer Kyle Strait. Instead, it was because my old habits showed up when I leveled up to a pro class. So today I'm gonna do what the pros do with you and review my race for the first time, diagnose where I went wrong, look at what I did right, and I'm gonna coach myself just like I would coach you. And at the end of this video, I'll map out the action plan just like I would for one of our students in the Athlete Accelerator, so let's rock. First thing you need to do if you're going to go to a race is you need to have a plan. This means you need to plan out your equipment, you need to plan out what's your goal, you need to plan, okay, how aggressive am I going to race, and you need to base this based on exactly how comfortable you are with the course. So I had not raced this course before, I had not practiced this but once, and I also hadn't raced in years. So what I did is I set my expectations to go at 60% of my speed that I could possibly go to, and I also set a rule for myself that I would not exceed my, a lot of people call it a comfort zone, but I know when I'm stable and balanced, and I know when I'm pushing it, so to speak, okay? So I know my limits really well, and I don't normally like to ride like this. I like to actually go 5% outside of my limits when I'm racing, maybe 10% outside of my limits when I'm racing. But as you can see here, Kyle Strait has already smoked me. So the couple of things that I wanted to say is like this plan actually worked. Now I know that I said, you know, I kind of lost here. I didn't qualify as high as I would have liked to, but what I did is my wins were in a race environment. I wanted to do three things. Number one, I wanted to race in a way where I wouldn't crash. That I achieved, straight up. Just race in a way where I didn't crash. Great, no crashes. I didn't even get close to crashing. I bobbled a few times and lost traction, but I stayed completely in control in terms of you know, staying on the bike. The reason why that was so important is because I had a ride retreat with 8 or 9 of my students from the Athlete Accelerator. We all got together in Colorado the day after this. And so I had to get on a plane with my wife and my daughter, fly out to Colorado, and be ready for 3 intense days of coaching and riding in person. So again, if you've been watching the channel, just saying, like, that's what you're missing out on if you haven't joined us. Now, back here on the video, what you can see is obviously Kyle got a better gate start than me. He has a slalom track at his house, and he's a professional racer. I don't have a gate. So I'm actually not gonna try to, if I were to evaluate the second goal, which is go as fast as possible, that would be something where next time I'm gonna look for some more time. I could probably save a half second or so on this, but I wanted to actually zoom forward into the race footage and show you where I lost the most time. And it's actually not here at the top. So let's watch this together. Where I lost the most time, and by the way, this is number 2, go as fast as possible. I just basically wanted to make sure and maintain control as much as possible. So here I am slashing some berms. That's me in the red against some, like, I guess 20-year-old guy. I don't know who that is. And I did just fine on this part. The right side's a little bit slower right here. And where I lost the most time was right after this. And it's because of that fear response. And I'm not talking about the one in my mind. I want to talk about something called a reflex. And for those of you to pay close attention, if you are someone who's 35, 45, 55 years old, and you've been riding for more than a few weeks, if you've been stuck on a skill plateau for more than a few weeks, this is me again I'm racing the pro class, and I'm hitting my ceiling right here. So your ceiling might be intermediate, advanced, wherever your ceiling is. That's an indication that your reflexes, as we get older, can sometimes resist motion and resist speed. I want to show you exactly what I mean. So if we watch the video right here, I'm braking the whole entire way down. None of the other races were braking. There were two things that I couldn't handle the forces on because my right meniscus in my right knee is completely shredded up, and I haven't put a lot of forces through it. And if you look right here, this is not a big jump. So what you're supposed to do on the right-hand line here is you're supposed to pump and then jump number 2 there. And as you can see, I soaked it up as best as I could. And the reason why here, I mean, I can show you right here, there's a video of me jumping a 50-footer. I can jump big jumps, but the G-forces on this race course at high speed require you to go to a higher speed level coming into this, which I wasn't at because it was braking. And number 2, you have to also be able to pop your jumps. So watch really closely right here. If you're just going to jump, yeah, I can jump like that. And it doesn't take a lot of effort. In fact, I could probably talk to you in the middle of the jump, and I could probably, breathe just fine. It's like jump rope. So when we jump a jump fast like this, you need to feel the feeling of quick, not heavy. Let me say that again. When we jump, we need to feel quick, not heavy. So looking at the screen here again, quick, not heavy means that when there's a big, quick force like this, if you're coming in at 20 miles an hour and the jump is only 5-7 feet long, you better be ready to jump quickly. When I train my knee, I'm able to do this on flat ground. And when I get to an 18-foot jump or bigger with a tiny takeoff, that is where the forces in my knee and my brain go, you can't do this yet. I can do it. I've demonstrated it on flat ground. I can do single leg hops up onto a box, and I've done this since my knee injury, but the reflex response is actually what's holding me back. So can you see why this is something that might explain why, after you've had some injuries or time off the bike, that the body doesn't allow you to access all of your strength? So that being said, I'm not going to attempt this because I haven't trained it off the bike yet. I'm right at that level where I'm ready to train it. I'm building a jump in my backyard, and I'm also doing some training off the bike to fix this. And obviously, it's quite frustrating, and it's hurtful to my ego to see that right there. That's just pathetic. I mean, there were 10-year-old kids jumping this, and so obviously my ego doesn't like it, but I made the decision to manage those forces completely in the safe zone, going 40% of the speed that I could if I was really going fast. So if we watch here, again, I'm going like 12 miles an hour. I probably could have hit that at 40, much faster, probably 20 miles an hour. And so that's where I lost the most speed. It was a decision that I made up here because I'd ridden the course a bunch. Right here, before you drop into that section, I'm braking and I'm choosing a nice safe line, and I'm gonna brake the whole way down from here all the way down. That probably cost me, I calculated, about 5 to 7 seconds, which would have put me at the bottom of the pro class finals, okay? So that was goal number 2. And because I chose not to go fast enough to have to manage the forces in my knee and just kind of not play it safe, but choose not to do this today on my first race run, in my first race in 5 years, I'm pretty happy with that. You know what I mean? So think about yourself. If you have goals and you have wins decided beforehand, I think that's something that can really keep us safe. Because if you go out there and you go, look, I'm just going to do this, and this is what I care about, then the friends that are doing something really cool aren't going to talk us into something that we shouldn't. And now, of course, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get this. And my goal is to finish in the middle of the pack against the 20-year-olds half my age and the other pros next year. Which brings me to my goal number 3 of the Strait Acres Showdown. Goal number 3 was to hit the corners with good form. And what is good cornering form? Well, I suggest that you watch my channel. I have about 15 cornering videos, but I'm going to post this one right here. It'll help you double your balance, even if you've been stuck for a long time. So click that link if you want the full breakdown of cornering. Now, the key with cornering on downhill berms in a race environment is this. So look closely at how you got to race a slalom race. You need to cut off the corners as much as you can, and you also need to choose good lines. But also, our body movement is incredibly important, okay? So right here, I'm riding right in the middle of the line that everybody else is, and our movement is really, really important. What you're gonna notice is my feet are relatively level with the horizon, and I have essentially dropped my right heel ever so slightly and rotated my hips to the left about 15 degrees of where the bike is pointed. You can see that the frame is going this way and the femurs are pointed to the rider's right. Pay special close attention to the femurs right here. And watch how I kind of hold my form through this. All right, so I would call that a 7 out of 10 quality turn for me. Why? Because what we want to do is we want to have this open position and open movement in the hips. You can see right here, notice how the hips open to the right, the femurs point to the rider's right. This allows me to adjust as I turn and I can tip the bike down. What's really important is we need to feel the feeling of allowing the bike to tip like this, down and up, primarily through the feet. Now, on a berm, that means that the berm is supporting us and we just need to angle the bike at the berm, so to speak, and our adjustments and turning can come from just a little bit of tilt in the bike and a little bit of twist in the hips. So right here, I have a ton of options. When you're cornering, you need to be able to open the hips. And again, watch that video that'll double your balance because it talks about hip dissociation in the pelvis, very important. But what you got to do here is just open them up. When we can turn the pelvis, turn the hips, what happens is that it allows me to have space and lots of options to choose my next move. Now, why it's a 7 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 is 2 reasons. Number one, right here, I don't get my torso and I don't get into a deep hinge near the bottom of this pump. And frankly, that's just because I'm not comfortable at speed. It's my first time racing in a while, and I was braking and holding back, and I was trying to stay as neutral as I could. And the other reason why is because I didn't also pump out of the turn, and I'm braking during the turn. Why I'm doing this is because, again, it's been a long time since I've raced, and I'm pretty tall, and my head got really close to this right here. You can see on the GoPro. All right, so following along on the screen, what we want to do when opening up as much speed as possible is we want to pump every turn and every roller. Something that I noticed Kyle Strait was doing was he was always accelerating or always slowing down. And as you can see right there, it felt a little hard for me to really open it up because of this tree right here in the right-hand lane. I'm 6'2", 6'3", and managing to keep my tire on line. Can you see how low that I got right here? And I'm trying not to hit the tree with my head. And so because of that, I just felt like I was safer off just kind of breaking down and holding my speed in. And I watched some of the other pros. They were much faster than me right here. I think this is one of those things where just being used to it and pumping more in the turns and not just getting low can also help. So as you can see, I'm snapping out of the berms and carrying speed pretty well against this younger rider here. And overall, braking very little. Here's where I made a big mistake. And I got this from Walkershaw. He's one of the riders out there with me. He's a pro. And really the main loss that I had here was because of line choice. This was a decent line, but I got too low in the berms. And again, with this one, I managed to manual that there and finish the race. Pretty sweet. But yeah, I wasn't really pumping in a way at the top of the trail to where I could maximize my speed. And I also wasn't really opening up my full range of motion. All right, so watch closely. Here's the next thing that I think I would really kind of pick on for myself and challenge a rider who I was coaching. It's using the full range of motion, even though I'm not opening up my throttle and going as fast as I possibly can. If you watch really, really closely here, the rider, Kyle Strait, right there, again, professional. Let's pause it right here. What I like to visualize when I'm doing a pump is that there's a hula hoop right here floating through the air that is at the top or the apex of the roller. And watch how Kyle just ducks himself into that hula hoop and he makes it through, okay? Notice how close Kyle's body is to the back tire. He's really using his maximum range of motion. He's maintained a hinge in the hips without arching the back, and he's got his eyes and elbows up. All right, so let's watch me right after this. I do a good job of ducking, so to speak, but I'm rolling the bike forward more and my timing isn't quite right either. You can see my front wheel floating off the ground. While Kyle is floating, he manages to see the back wheels off the ground here. He's about to put it down at the very perfect spot on the apex. I'm a little bit late right there. You can see I'm late, as well as I'm not using my full range of motion in the body. So what I would do if I was coaching a rider is I would take a look at this and I would say, hey, look, either this bike is a very small, cramped bike for your body style, in which case, what I would really encourage you to do is work on exaggerating that footwork. So my front knee, you can see how far out in front of the pedal it is. And let's watch Kyle's front knee when he's fully, look at that. Kyle's leg is stacked. His knee is stacked over the ball of his foot. My front knee is stacked about 3 to 4 inches in front of my front foot. What this means is that I'm using my quads and my feet are behind me and I'm pushing forward and down on the pedals, but my pedals are behind me, okay? So this isn't a huge penalty because I'm about to stand up and away from that berm, but I don't even use all of my power. I just kind of stand there and get ready to brake, okay? You can also see how my elbows have gone down a little bit. This is, again, a symptom typically of that fear response as a result of not having stability in the feet, okay? So my footwork is really what broke down here. I got my body weight forward, but I forgot to really have that pedal press able to push into in the front leg like Kyle is doing right here. You can see that his toe is up and my front foot is more flat. So the thing that I do like that I did a good job of is my back foot. I am able to push forward off of that to counteract the forces of this roller. But that if I were to open up the brakes would still keep me behind Kyle by about, I don't know, maybe a quarter second or something like that. So it is important to really refine these body movements. And again, Kyle's gonna come up and nicely scrub this, cut the corner short. One thing I loved about watching Kyle was that he was always accelerating or always decelerating. If you watch closely here, I'm accelerating right there, but I'm also braking right here to control my speed around the turn, all right? So, I mean, it looks like timid riding, but really it's just that I didn't refine my footwork there. I am looking around the turns. I like that. The main thing that I would do if I were giving a lesson or I were trying to improve this rider right here, myself, is I would say, hey, go to the top, go 50% speed, go 30% speed. And what I want you to do is I want you to ride the entire course and just drop the front heel. And when you're swinging your hips, swing them behind a dropped heel the entire time. Really focus on making sure that you've got that front foot to brace against and that'll allow you to get your joints stacked up more properly and let gravity do some of this balancing for you. The reason why this is so important is because when we stand up on the bike, our joints are stacked vertically, and if gravity's doing the work and our feet are in front of us and behind us like this, then you can lean into your front pedal and you can lean against the back pedal, and you don't really need your hands to brace on the bike. So the reason why my elbows are dropped here and not in good form is ultimately because my footwork was a bit sloppy this day. Again, new bike, I've never ridden the bike in a race. It's my first time riding the bike. I'm not used to it, 160 millimeter cranks. So perhaps I just need to refine my practice a bit, or maybe I need to refine a little bit of how to get that. So who knows? Perhaps I need to practice a bit more on the bike, but definitely I need to be more conscientious of this move because it'll help a ton. Now, let's go to the second thing that would save me the most time without actually hitting those jumps, and that would be line choice. So I missed a couple lines here today, but as you can see right here, I'm about 2 feet wide on this turn right here. I could have cut off a couple of feet there and I would have been set up just perfectly for this berm. And if you watch really closely, I'm able to save it and catch up a little bit there, threw in a good little pedal stroke. Now check this out. Notice what I just said a minute ago about that footwork, that front foot being toe up. I like this a lot. So right here, you can see my knee is behind my toe, And that means that I can use my entire leg and my whole musculature without a lot of effort to brace against the forces of the turn, which we can see here. So the toe is up. That's nice. The hips are turned massively, and the elbows are in a much better position. So this is another run, but I really like how this goes. And you can also see I did something a tiny little bit advanced here, which is I delayed the turn ever so slightly. So you can see me turn the bars to the rider's left for a moment and allow my body to fall down first while shaping the bike around me. And then I snap the hips and press through the turn, and that gives me a bit of a speed boost. So that's something I did really well. I'd like to preserve that and carry that through the next couple of tries. Obviously here, I'm actually surprised. I thought that I was completely vertical and not low at all, but I think I did a decent job. I haven't worked on any kind of scrub work, but I like this right here. I like where I'm looking. You can see as soon as I clear the top of this thing, I'm already looking for, with my eyes, my head, my hips. That's the key. Do you see the hips? The toes are pointed completely one way and the femurs are pointed at the camera. This is awesome. When you are riding your mountain bike, if you can point your femurs where you're about to need to go, while you're in a deep hinge or while you're squatted down on the bike, it opens up a world of awesome riding for you. I did a pretty bad job of laying the bike sideways. I didn't even do a great job with my footwork right there, but because my femurs are pointed in the right direction, this is easy. There were other riders washing out and maybe losing control right there, and it's just getting wonky. So I love that. I think that's something that I'm really proud of and I want to build on as well. So again, that is something that I do practice quite a bit. You can see that on a lot of my cornering videos that I practice turning the femurs. Ooh, that's nice. Really good and open there. Let's look at the other rider. So if we look at the rider in black, let's see if this rider does it as well. So got the nice tongue out, super focused. I like how this rider has opened up this kind of the legs right here. One thing that you can do if you're going to do a true scrub and lay the bike sideways is you're going to need to have your knees a bit more open at first unless you have insane mobility. So I really like this. This gives him room to have options, but really good work here too. A lot of times more advanced riders, what they can also do is they can weight the outside corner of the pedal if they are not clipped in, and that can help you with kind of reaching the legs around. So good technique here by my fellow rider number 7. Good job beating the old guy, dude. So appreciate you. But I really like that hip twist. So let's talk a little bit more about the hip twist, because this is something that gives me a big win on goal number 3, which is really have good form on the turns. It allows me to anticipate those turns. I never once had trouble making a turn. There were people that were going over the top of these berms, never a struggle for me. So just kind of watching through here, a little bit slow motion. You can see how right here, I turn the hips to the right before I get there. That's because of all the years of work I've done off the bike to make this happen. Yeah, I just don't love my overall speed. This makes me want to go back and just practice a ton more and see what I can get out of it. So a quick fun fact for you guys as we're watching this video together is, did you know when I talked to Nico Mullally, he's a professional mountain biker and owns Frameworks Racing, who that's the team with Asa Vermette and Aaron Gwynn on the team. I asked him, hey man, for every 30 minutes that you guys actually ride your bike, how much do you watch film? And he goes, for every 30 minutes, we're probably watching about 6 hours of film. So if you haven't even had someone record you and show you what you're really doing, you're really missing out. So I highly encourage you to do that. Makes a lot of difference. So as I watch this too, this line actually felt a little bit faster on, felt good on it. I felt like this turn happened really well because I was more, there we go. That's what I'd like to see. So this looks a lot more like what I would prefer to see myself do at the beginning of the race right here, where I was just a bit too timid. Right here, this is just, my body's kind of closed in. I'm just leaning over the bars. I'm rolling the bike forward, and I'm not attacking it in the same way as I am right here. So if I were coaching this rider in red, it's Dave 2.0, man, what I would say is just like, look, dude, just go get a snapshot of this in your mind. That's Dave, the middle of the pack in the pro class at 40 years old, Dave, right there. How does this rider go out there and how does he do the first turn? How does he do the second turn? And then what I do is I get that rider in my head and I become like Super Dave or Dave 2.0. This is something I talked about with Brett Tippy. Brett Tippy's on my team. He's one of our mentors, and he shared what he called Super Tippy.
I've literally put myself into a situation where I didn't know if I could do it or not, and then I would just kind of like tell myself I could, even if I couldn't, and I would almost put myself into like a little mental superhero mode with a cape. Super Tippy. I don't know if I can do it, but Super Tippy can do it.
And so Super Tippy is basically his version of himself whenever he's hitting that crazy hard line. And it's something that he uses to, when he's decided to drop in, he uses Super Tippy, this persona, to go out there and hit all of his goals as riding. So super happy to have Tippy on the team. We love you, man. Ooh, this is a cool shot right here. Look at that mud flying. So if I were to really criticize, like if I were to put myself up against, like, why can't I go out and beat Chris Grice? Why can't I beat the other David? We love you, David. And why can't I beat Kyle Strait? Probably because of this right here. With where I am at with my riding right now, I'm looking at the left-hand turn, that sharp left-hand turn that's coming up. As I'm coming up over this first roller, there's two rollers, then a sharp left-hand turn that's flat. And my processing speed is much slower than the 20-year-olds and the full-time pros. I don't know. I haven't tested this yet to see if I can get it to their level. This is overall good form, but this is very limited. I could probably shave off a half of a second by doing a couple things. Number one, if my processing speed was faster, I would ask for more speed right here. When we go uphill, obviously that slows us down. And why do we not want to slow down? Well, because we're racing, okay? Not here, I don't want to slow down, it's a straightaway. And so what I could do here is I could snap into a taller position and push harder from the bottom of that roller. And you can kind of see my head going down and I'm ducking the body a little bit. I could have snapped earlier and harder to cut off more of this uphill. In other words, I could have jumped up more and then crouched down even more right here and snapped harder onto the downslope right there instead of just jumping up and landing on it and getting ready to brake. So right here, I'm just doing a nice long brake. I'm braking, I'm braking, I'm braking. You can see it right there. So mentally, I'm braking right here. I'm making sure that my body is balanced, that I'm ready to brake, that I'm ready to go. And frankly, I'd even pick on this too. So my left foot right there, my front foot, I'm not able to brace into this if I wanted to. If I wanted to brake here, I'm gonna have to brace on the bars and my weight's gonna get thrown forward and I'm just gonna have a very awkward time trying to brake and turn. So what I should have done is I should have, again, jumped up out of the first roller, landed harder and really absorbed over the first roller. And then right here, I should have done another small pump with a big old crouch to get really low. I should have been really low here and I should have had my left foot out like this and ready to brace into that pedal. And I should have been in a hinge like this. I'm just way too tall, which again, it's fine. I'm saving energy and I'm able to do my move, but I just get into this kind of turning position a little bit late. Now, some of you might notice that I am dropping the outside foot ever so slightly. I've got about a 60-40 weight distribution, 60 in the outer foot, 40 in the inside foot. And you can really see how my toe is down on the back foot. So when you're turning left and your right foot is back, it allows you to push off of that back pedal and really balance against it. It's very stable. So again, you can kind of see how I lifted my foot up to the side there to make room for the knee. This isn't bad. I don't mind this right here. This is not terrible, but as you can see, I was braking quite late into this, and I would have rather done a lot more speed work right here, and then braced right here at the top of the berm and smashed my pedals down right here and just done a real quick punch through the feet and hit my brakes right here to brake early instead of right there, okay? So another 2 or 3 feet earlier, really slam into it, and then turn while I'm in a little bit more of a low braced position. I probably would have saved like easily a quarter second, and I could stack each one of those turns like that. There's 3 or 4 turns here. Ooh, now that's good. What's really ironic here is my right hand turns are a little bit better. I wonder if it's because maybe I'm protecting my knee again, who knows? But I love this. If you look right here, I've got a good, pretty tall stance on the bike, and I do a good job of, oh, I like that right there. If we take a look at this front foot, guys, we should all aspire to have this when we're turning or when we're bracing against a changing force. Why this is so important is because imagine this turn is kind of like a wall. So my momentum doesn't go straight here, it goes to the right. And so in order to handle that force, I've got to have a dropped heel in order to lean against that force and not get collapsed. So I'm really proud of my front footwork here, this left foot. I've got excellent bracing there. And as you can see, I'm pretty balanced coming into this next move, able to do a nice little pump there. Oh yeah, I totally could have scrubbed that more. That's a comfort thing. I just need to do it more. I'm totally gonna build one of those in my backyard now in practice. Yeah, that's this right here where it's kind of pitching me forward and I'm sticking my arms out. That's a little weak because it's just, I'm not using my full range of motion. Let's see how the footwork is here. Decent. Hips are great. Oh yeah. Okay, that's decent right there. Let's watch this in full speed. I like this one. This is good because I've got a nice high line. And my right turn was good. I could have gotten 3 inches to the right. It's gonna go in slow motion. Don't hate me. Good setup. Nice tall. Good job managing the forces. Looking through, there's the pump right there. Okay, so here's where I made a mistake. If we take a really close look at this, you're gonna see I got a nice wide line. Could have set up wider earlier and made it even more smooth and fast. So right here, I'm setting up, watch my torso drop right there, and I'm looking to the right. That's appropriate. But right here, I lean the bike, turn the front, and cut off the most supportive part of that berm. And I don't know if I'm braking or not. I don't think I am. Yeah, I did. So it looks like I did a little bit of panic braking right there as well. It really ticks me off, I'm not gonna lie. It happens. So ultimately, that's a line choice issue. I should have chosen a better line that was further out, and I should have been more patient instead of freaking out over the forces that I've got to deal with and hitting the brakes. I should have just been patient and ridden that berm right up here or right here where everybody else was. Either one would have been fine. So it's kind of like a in the moment line choice, scattered decision / lack of practice. And then obviously right there, made the choice to go too slow to hit those. So can't be mad about that. All right, so let's watch a complete run. Pay attention to my breathing. Went too inside there. Little manual. So overall, what'd you think? Like this video, subscribe to the channel. I do a lot more full complete breakdowns with individual skills in mind. So if you like that, go ahead and subscribe. I also got a couple spots available for the Athlete Accelerator intensive programs. What a performance intensive is we pair you with expert mentors who coach Olympic riders and World Cup level riders. And these are the pros that we look up to right now. And so I actually pair you with these mentors over the course of 3, 6, or 12 months. And we've got all different programs for intermediate riders looking to break the intermediate skill plateau. You can apply below the link if you're interested in that. And I'll talk to you next time. Thanks, guys.